part of our podcast. We forgot to mention that. So,
Well, I've got about 15 minutes, so.
all right.
You can't eat either, or go to the bathroom.
Let me
Hey,
refresh.
I've got some coffee. I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah, it took you 30 minutes to make it. Like you sat there and just looked at the pot as it was dripping into the thing.
That's
Dude,
nice.
it took forever to make. I can't help it.
All I heard was dripping into the thing.
Dripping into the thing.
You gonna tell us before we go live?
We're already live.
Oh.
I just refreshed the page and we're good. So we are live.
We are live.
All right. So.
Hello.
Introductions.
Okay, so obviously, Warfare. Okay, we're joined by Bubba. We got McDilly, who's Taylor on the bottom. We got Snake, who's Tyler. And then we got the dog one being Kratos. So the way it's going to work is we have various topics we're going to discuss. Snake is here to discuss his story. Whether we give our opinions on the situation will be determined based on the ending. And we'll go from there. So the main questions everyone probably wants to know is... The first one would probably be, are you blacklisted? Are you, what's the deal here?
Currently, yes, I am. I am blacklisted from the APD.
Okay, now is there plans to try to not be blacklisted and try to get back in the force, or you're just going to take a break from the APD? What's the deal?
Well, I've been taking a break the last couple of days in general from Olympus, playing a little less, but, maybe down the line. But it's ultimately not my decision.
True. So, what's the story here? Like, why did you get blacklisted? What was the big thing you did that just tilted the scales?
It actually wasn't one thing. It was kind of a collection of everything I've ever done. Turns out that I've kind of been a bad guy for a long time, and eventually it just kind of caught up with me. So, basically, a lot of people know me. You know the kind of guy I am, so you can come to your own conclusions about the reasons why it happened.
Well, so there was a story that you yelled at Lost, right? Because he was using Sergeant gear, and I was on your stream when that happened. If that was the yelling we're talking about, you yelled at him for using it, pulled him into a channel, and then apparently at some point, either after that or the next day or something, you ended up like lethaling everybody. This is the story I heard. You lethaled a bunch of people, and then that's when I heard you got demoted. So. Did you actually like lethal or something, or what was the deal?
Yeah. So what happened was I told this person several times to drop said gear, and he refused. So got a little frustrated. Popped him once in the face with a Stanag clip of ammunition, and that did happen in front of about 6 civilians and 4 other cops. So it was not exactly a private thing.
Say you popped him with a clip of ammunition.
Well, it was 1 bullet, because that's all it takes for me, but,
I was expecting you to just, like, spray this dude down, just full auto.
No, it was 1 bullet. I was a little frustrated, so, it was a mistake, but, I definitely understand why things went down the way they did. This is the way it had to go.
Okay, so you had that demotion, so you had this blacklist, and then before that you had the demotion to sergeant. Were you demoted before that too, or is it just these 2 times?
No, I've never been demoted before that Black Flag incident. Shout out to Black Flag, it's my dude. But besides that, I've had no big issues. Obviously, everybody knows about the moderator stuff already. That's been out there for a long time.
I have no clue. Speak the moderator stuff. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it was a mod back in the day. Which I was removed from for some favoritism issues with my boy Wing Wong. Shout out to Wing Wong. And and for RDMing an entire gang, which,
Was that when it was like a terminal or something, and you just like sprayed every single person down? I heard
there was a 50 cal in Kavala. They had just killed a cop, and I came around the corner and sprayed about 9 dudes down with 1 clip, so... That was a problem.
I honestly, I kind of want to discuss whether or not you should be back on the APD, and I feel like the better way to go about that would have been to put you at a corporal rank and just see how you do. Like, it sounds weird saying maybe you're not good for a higher up position because you're strongly opinionated. I know that. And I know that you fuck around with people a lot, and that's nothing new. But do you think that you should have just been demoted, or are you just happy that you got blacklisted and over and done with, or what were you hoping the course of action was for it?
Well, it's hard. Even when I was demoted to corporal the first time, it's hard to make that adjustment because I'm used to being better or higher than everyone else. But and even when I was, people still came to me for questions all the time, other corporals and things, which I know is not normal. But when I was promoted to sergeant again, and then eventually to lieutenant, I was warned that any issue would cause a removal and blacklist. Travis made it very clear. So I wasn't shocked. I wouldn't mind it. I actually said that I'd come back as a deputy, but you know, it's not my choice.
So there was a thing on the forums where it was like an application. Was that supposed to be like your application to try to join back, or like was it just?
Oh
like a
yeah,
joke
that was
thing?
my application.
Yeah,
I gave that ID out to several people, and they commented on it, and it came up as my name, so they thought I was spamming the application.
Yeah,
But
I saw the Devil's replies. I think it was Devil replied to
yeah, it was Devil. Yep. Yeah, that was an application. I knew that it would be ignored or declined, which it was. So, but I just thought it would be funny, to be honest.
So I'm assuming Kratos and McGilly don't want to have any questions regarding. I assume you guys want to keep kind of to yourselves. Bubba, do you want to say anything to him regarding the situation?
I actually do have something to say.
All right, say it.
Mate.
Speak the truth.
One of the things that you were talking about was... Oh, I can't hear you anymore.
Hold on, stop.
I mean,
Did
yeah.
I muted my mic or my sound wrong? Yeah, I fixed it, sorry. Okay, so one of the things that you touched on with Snake just now was like thinking about him coming back as like a corporal and seeing how he does. One of the things that I want to actually just touch on real quick is that I don't like seeing people come back at a higher rank than deputy once they've already left the I understand maybe sometimes there's exceptions to be made to get past, you know, going through and doing his ticket and all that stuff, but I can't stand when people come back and then they're higher than a deputy after they've been off the force. That drives me nuts. But there was the situations that has been happening has already been rectified. So right now there's nobody currently that is in that situation. But
So are we talking about people that get kicked and coming back as a deputy, or is coming back higher than a deputy, or just people that like stopped playing and then they came back and instantly got a promotion?
well, sort of both. Like obviously the people that got kicked should come back and like not necessarily be a deputy, but they should get their interview without having to submit a ticket. In my opinion, if you want to skip the process of going through get a ticket, like I feel like all right, don't have to submit a ticket, but you get an interview, and because the rules change over time, and a lot of people that come back, they don't know what the recent changes are. There was a few officers like that I had done tests on that had come back and they didn't do well at all, so they shouldn't have been back in the first place. You know, there was a specific person who came back as a corporal that shouldn't have been. Well, that's rectified, and that situation's. I'm glad to see it rectified now, but I just hope it doesn't happen again. That's what drives me nuts. Even if people leave the APD, not necessarily go inactive, but leave. If they leave the APD and then they come back later as like a patrol officer or a corporal or whatever it is, I feel like that's just kind of not fair for the people that obviously are spending their time being active and working their way up, because they kind of just cut in front of everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, I got you. So okay. One thing I do want to discuss though is the biggest thing is the evaluations and people getting demotions. Now, I don't know if you guys can speak about it, but I know Snake probably can. With these demotions, what's the point of giving someone a test, seeing that they don't know the rules, and then demoting them for 3 days just to give them the same exact test again? It seems like they're just going to get it right back. Are they actually really learning anything from it? Because it seems like if they didn't read the rules in the first place, are they really going to start keeping track with the rules again? I mean...
Well, I feel like this evaluation was actually kind of... I feel like it served more than one purpose. Obviously, it served the purpose of filtering out the people who didn't know the rules or the people that were feeding out misinformation. But there was also the situation where we noticed on the handbook that there were some issues that we needed to highlight a few things. I can't speak about the questions, obviously. Still, not all the evaluations have been done. But there's certain things on the handbook that there actually was gray area specifically about corporals and their tools that they can use that need to be clarified. The handbook is slightly out of date, and then there's some stuff in the server rules that isn't in the handbook but should be. For instance, hostage situation rules. But so yeah, I mean, what do you could have any thoughts on that, Kratos?
Yeah, the rules, I think they definitely need to be clarified, of them, especially the corporate rules. But I know that we'll get it all taken care of. If there's any gray areas, we'll get them worked out.
What about the question? Like, I want to circle back to Warfare's question, the main one. What's the point of demoting someone for 3 days so they can take it again? I feel like I can't speak for Travis because I think he was the one who came up with the whole thing in the first place, him and Ace. But I don't necessarily know what their objective was with that specifically on corporals, because patrol officers and deputies, it was straight up demoted, and they didn't get their 3 days to take another test and get it back. Corporals did, and if I had to guess, because I can only guess, I'm speaking from a perspective of ignorance, I feel like it might be because maybe if a potential situation where you just had no corporals and they were just demoted, period, and then obviously that would be kind of a bad situation for the APDs if we had no corporals. I mean, we still honestly did wipe out probably a pretty good portion of corporals already.
Like half.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6.
Well, the thing is, though, like, I agree that evaluation should definitely be done. And the biggest thing with people failing seemed to be the wording and them not actually fully understanding the handbook and what the rule actually was trying to say. But I feel like if you're going to give an evaluation, the way it needs to go is you ask them the questions, they fail, they get demoted. Maybe in the future they have a look at them again and see if they should get their rank back. Obviously, getting rid of misinformation is a good thing, but if you're giving people the power for corporals to do lethaling people and making like real big game change decisions, they should know their shit. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't know the rules. Like, especially something as simple as if it's in the handbook. I can understand messing up on the hostage situation rules. Maybe you didn't fully understand it, you didn't get to read them fully yet. It's not in the handbook yet, that's totally fine. But with lethaling, that's a pretty big thing. I've had so many situations with corporals where they just don't know when they're allowed to lethal, and they get demoted, and it seems like they're just right back to it again. So I feel like the whole demotion thing doesn't really pan out that well, because they mess up, and then it seems like they just mess up again almost on the same thing in the future. So it seems like people aren't learning, really.
I mean, coming from a PO as well, like just seeing the 3-day demotion for corporals and getting their retest, it almost seemed unfair. Like there wasn't even like, oh my god, all these guys got demoted, and all these long-time POs are getting excited, getting hopes up that in the future there could possibly be maybe chance for them to fulfill that position. But like when we heard that there's a 3-day a 3-day wait and they had their chances, like obviously they're gonna have the option to read up on their rules and figure their shit out, and it almost didn't seem unfair, or it did seem unfair, sorry.
I want to toss something out real quick, if I may.
Give it a go.
Bubba,
Yeah.
I think you've been doing a great job on the APD. If it was up to me, you'd be a corporal right now, bud. Just so you know, everything in my power right now. There you go. Congratulations. In my mind, you're a corporal. Congratulations, sir.
It means a lot. No, but you know what I mean. Like,
Ex-cop Snake. No, I know what you mean. Like, I think you're right. I thought about that too. Like, I always thought that corporal was a little bit too rare, and you can ask Kratos and McDilly. I was always talking about promoting corporals.
Well, it does make their similar, right? Because when I first joined, the way they were explained was that you become a deputy, you become a patrol officer. Those are the learning stages. Then you become a corporal as official APD. It seems like we have almost no official APD and just a crap ton of people that are just in training still.
Yep,
Like,
that's exactly how I felt when I was a PO or a constable back in the day. Like, and Kratos and I used to talk about it. Like, dude, corporal's supposed to be like the real cop. How come there's only like 5 real cops? Like, what the heck?
It's like, so people just not knowing their shit, or it's like, are we trying to have a cap on how many people can be corporals, Kratos, or like what's the deal with that? Like,
They're like right now, there's not really a cap on how many that we want corporal. We're just trying to find out like which corporal will actually really be good. Because as you saw, a lot of our current corporals didn't exactly pass their evaluation. So for bringing more corporals in, we want to make sure that they definitely know the roles really well, and that they can be good in that position.
Now, would it make sense to have a corporal test, so to speak? Like, you have a ride-along to become a PO. Would it be better to also have something in line of maybe if you're thinking about having someone become a corporal, maybe having someone play with them, see if they actually know the rules. I mean, basically another ride-along to become a corporal. I mean, if you don't know the rules, it's a pretty big thing. But it doesn't get weeded out. Like you can. When I became a corporal, it's like, okay, pulled you in, you're a corporal now, congratulations. But it's like, but do you really know that person actually knows the rules? And it seems like that no one knows the rules pretty much.
Yeah, I wish that, and the issue is that there would have to be way more higher ups than there are now, which is something that they are working on. But like other servers have a massive amount of cops like we do, but they have like a lot higher ratio of higher ups as well. So they're doing like mandatory trainings and stuff like that to rank up. And like I would love to see something like that here. Like you have to do, and we used to do some of it. Like you have to do a hostage situation training. You have to do like a certain situation training, like and basic rule testing and things like that before you can be, even considered for advancement. And it'd be cool if we had something like that here.
Well, it definitely would weed out the people that don't know what they're doing or just are not actually putting in effort. There's a lot of people that play cop to make money, and it's because it's just an easy source of income. And I think that's a big reason why you get so many cops. Like, we need to start getting people that want to play cop for the RP or just because they want to experience, that cop situations versus just let's go make bank. I mean, using Virus as an example, that he's living fucking proof that you grind cop, you're making millions. I mean, he went from, I think it was 500 million in the middle of December to 700 million now, and that dude don't play Civ. Like, he's grinded out cop the whole time. So
yeah, and funny enough, last week before I was blacklisted, I was down to like 15 mil, and so I played cop for a day. And I was up to almost 30. So,
yeah,
if you're good, like.
You don't even have to be good. I mean, like, tonight I made, I don't know, probably like 2 mil, and it was just from catching little low-ranked bounties in red zones and making all the money from, searching the car, searching the person. It just stacks. So, it's a big issue in my opinion.
Also, going back to what Warfare was talking about, how, like, if a deputy or a PO or a deputy failed that test, the eval, they were demoted, and there was, like, no guarantee that they had any time frame of when they were going to get another test to get back. Whereas Corporal was like, oh, I failed. Well, 3 days later, I'm going to take this test and get Corp back.
Yeah, I felt like it's kind of backwards, to be honest.
You guys told them you told them the answers too, didn't you? Like if they failed, you told them what they got wrong.
Some people didn't tell them when they did evaluations. I talked to Travis before I started doing them. He said it's cool if you tell him. So the people that I did, I told them what they got wrong and what they got right. Stuff like that, but which kind of doesn't. That's the thing that didn't really make sense to me. It felt backwards for corporals to get like a slap on the wrist, essentially, whereas the POs and deputies get completely removed. And I guarantee you, the sergeant evaluations probably would have been you're demoted from sergeant, you don't get another chance. So why is it? I don't know why a certain rank.
Why is it so different for and.
But then again, like I said, I didn't make this. It wasn't my idea, so I don't know what the objective was. I'm speaking from a position of ignorance, so I can't know. Kratos would know more about it, but I don't even know if he knows.
Kratos, do you know?
I honestly didn't know that we were going to be doing evaluations until a couple of days before we started doing them. So I actually don't know that much about why corporals are getting a second chance if they fail, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. I mean, like, we don't have that many corporals, so maybe we didn't want to get rid of all of our corporals if they failed, because as you saw, a lot of them failed. So.
But what was going to happen with because Snake told me before he was blacklisted that if the sergeant failed the sergeant evaluation, you'd be straight up demoted. So wouldn't you have the same fear of that as well, like running out just having no sergeants? Because that's always the potential, it just seems kind of interesting.
There still hasn't been sergeant evaluations, to be fair. So,
There really hasn't been.
so I mean, you know, I didn't even know about the evaluations until the day they started. So,
Yeah.
Well, so we were talking about training earlier, right? So when you do, at least when I became a constable, my ride-along consisted of 6 people doing a checkpoint and each one doing one person. After that, we went to a training thing and shot some wood. Like, was that like the average like test back then, or was it just people just wanting to get things done and just pass people as fast as they could? Or I mean, it seems like that's partially done today too, like by certain high-ranking officers. They just try to just quickly do some tests instead of actually seeing if the person knows anything.
ride-alongs have gotten progressively less involved as they've become more of a thing.
Well, because like I did the one with you, and that's how I felt like it should have been. You know, like you drive along, you patrol, and then you ask them questions, and if they know them, they know them. If they don't, you know, sorry, we don't want you as a PO.
Yeah, that I've incorporated that because I remember tagging along with Snake while I was a corporal and he was a sergeant, or no, he was just lieutenant. He just got lieutenant or something, and we gave someone a ride along, and that's what we did. We drove around by Sophia and kind of looked for suspects. I've incorporated doing that myself if I have time, and most of the time I do have time. So, and that I feel like is something that everyone should do. I hate skipping to the test portion because I want to at least find someone to process so I can watch their RP. That to me is the RP is a big one for me. But then again, I'm always big on that.
Go ahead, Bubba.
I was just gonna say, like, when I got promoted PO, it was an instant promotion. But I mean, I think there are times where that is like acceptable because you played with that deputy, you know how they RP, they've been deputy for a while, they did good in a situation. I mean, granted, coming on to, the server and being like, oh, he's on, well, he's been a cop for a while, let's just give him, PO, and then there's other times where you're playing with a higher up, you're doing good or something, like to be fair, there's just situations like I know I did a jailbreak with Ace, and I was in his ghost talk. It was just me and him, and I was calling out everyone and said, "Great job! I've heard nothing bad about you. I've heard you've been deputy for a while. I'm gonna give you your PO." And then there's other times where this deputy's been a while, but you never played with them. So let's do what McDillion, let's do what everyone else was saying, where you test them, but like you play with them in a test. So I mean, granted, there should be situations, but I do also feel as though there can be that time, for an insta promotion without the test. But
yeah, I feel like as long as the higher ups have played with that person, they know their shit, then it's understandable to just promote that person regardless. But in a sense of when you're doing like mass people, 4 people at a time, and you want to do a test, I feel like you got to go through everything. Like I felt like when I did the ride along with Snake, I felt like that was literally how a test should go every single time. But RP with them like we did at the terminal. Have them check drug dealers, make sure they know what they're doing, and it worked out really well. So I think.
Man, props to Snake. What a god.
Yeah, I mean, well, while you're here, and McDilly wants to really talk about what was it, Power RP, Power Gaming RP, and like legitimate RP.
Like the different, the line between good RP and Power Gaming RP.
Thank you.
And Snake, we actually had a situation the other day where it was a great example. You were there. You were the lawyer. Warfare was also present for that. And I'm not sure if you remember the entire thing. I'm sure you remember being there, but
I absolutely remember. It was fantastic.
Well, I didn't think so much that it was fantastic. I thought that you were putting a lot of effort into it, but the way that I felt was like, I don't remember what someone said he didn't have. Someone said something about fingerprints, and you were like, I feel like a good response would have probably been like, well, he's wearing gloves, so he can't have fingerprints. And then maybe the cop could have said, obviously, well, I saw those prints of the gloves there, and you could have said, well, a lot of people wear those gloves. That's okay, that's a valid point, but it kind of went from, he doesn't have hands, he's a cyborg.
So basically it went from, the way it seems like, it's like you you have some really good RP stuff that makes plenty of sense, and then it goes into shit where it's like, let's figure out how much we can bullshit until the cop has no response, and that's, it's
This coming from the
valid
guy
in some
still
ways.
talking about pubes.
Yeah,
Though.
you didn't let me finish my pube hair argument, okay? It was going somewhere.
Yeah, I agree that Warfare brought up the pubes thing, and that was also out there. But I felt like he was responding to your Power Gaming RP
At
with
least-
Power Gaming RP from him. but yeah, I mean, that's what I can't stand sometimes is when people like, oh, I'm a white belt in karate, and I like karate killed 10 guys surrounding me with Mark 200s with my foot, like,
Right.
and that's how I got those 10 manslaughters in self-defense. Like, as a cop, I'm starting to just tell people, well, I don't believe you. Sorry. Like,
To be
that's-
fair, I think that, and sure you have a valid argument, but I think that there's not enough ability for the cops to be more lenient on charges. Like, it's so strict, you have to do these specific things, or you're gonna get in trouble. And there's very little wiggle room for anybody besides a corporal, and even then, it's only 50%. Like,
But yeah, there's no wiggle room to where you
There's-
can
yeah, there's no incentive for
RPing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, you can, we have the ability to. Well, see, the biggest thing is like, I can't remember who I talked to this about, but it was basically saying that people RP, you want to give them a cheaper ticket, but then they're like, oh well, how do you know that person actually did do that? Like the whole, oh, did you text the cops crap? It's like, who fucking cares if they texted the cops or not? We're having a great RP session. Let me give the guy a cheaper ticket. Like, he actually
one
came
of the
here to
things-
play.
One of the things that is actually annoying to me that I see cops do is when they see that the guy has, like, drug trafficking, for instance. Drug trafficking is always added when you search the drug dealer, and so that, if you understand the game mechanics, it's obviously, well, that guy definitely sold drugs to the drug dealer, and they use that as part of their RP, and they try to say, well, we had a hidden camera on you while you sold drugs to the drug dealer, so we know you sold, like, that's kind of, I hate when I see that, and this is the same for, like, manslaughters. You definitely killed somebody. You didn't, like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's super hard to RP the fact that the server knows you did it, right? Like,
Yeah,
they
well,
want you to be like, well, prove it. It's like, well, I fucking can't. The server is the one that proves it. Like, how am I supposed to roleplay with you here when you just keep throwing up these walls where it's like, you're just trying to shut me out so I look stupid or something? Like, what was it earlier? We were floating. We were leaving a red zone, and as we like get right to the tip, we look underneath us, and there's a car sitting there. And he drives in, and we're like, okay, well, we're just gonna land and go, see why you're in this red zone. And he starts getting pissed at us because we came back into the red zone. It's like, dude, we were literally like an inch out. Are we supposed to just let you go into an illegal area, pick some drugs, go and process it, and we're supposed to catch you there? It's like, have some realism here. If this was a cop, we're not gonna just let you go commit crimes. Like, it's not like we're checking it every 2 damn minutes.
that's another thing that that's some, I know some similar situation. There was one time I was fighting some guys on server 3, and they were shooting at my Ghost Hawk with a 50, but what they were doing was they'd shoot my Ghost Hawk with a 50 after I didn't have an angle on them, and when I get an angle on them, when I get back for a strafe, to the 50. So it's a situation where the 50 cal is now empty. If I shoot a stationary vehicle with no one in it, it's RVD, right? Random vehicle damage. So, or deathmatch. So they would keep doing this. Eventually, I just told the gunner, okay, destroy the 50. Obviously this, and they sent me a text. Obviously, this is what I hate. They sent me a text calling rules, and they're saying, oh, that vehicle is empty. You shouldn't be shooting at that. That's against the rules. Well, it's like,
Stop
That
hopping in the
vehicle-
fucking thing then. Like, stop hopping
That
and shooting at me.
yeah, that vehicle keeps becoming unempty and keeps threatening the lives of my officers. So I'm going to make sure that vehicle isn't a
I'm
threat.
gonna
to me.
disable that shit, yeah. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's people try to bend the rules so much when you're on cop. Like, they try to find every single loophole that's gonna get them out of their, $1 billion ticket. And it's just like, why are you even playing on this server? Like, if you're not looking to roleplay, you're not looking to have a conversation, what the hell is the point? I don't get it.
I just think there's not enough mercy. I think there should be more. Like, for example, tonight I was elsewhere, and I had five manslaughters on me, and the cops, rather than just nabbing me up, searching my car, and finding my cocaine load, my Zamac load of cocaine. They actually talked to me because I had a legal gun, and I was able to get out of those. Like, I don't understand why that.
Well, it's not more
I
of a
guess I
thing.
do, because like when I was on cop, I guess if I saw someone with 5 manslaughters, I would have just said you're an idiot. I'm gonna give you a ticket. Like,
Yeah,
but
it comes back to the whole making money thing again. Cop is a cash grab. You see people with a high bounty, you're like, oh well, I'm just gonna sit here and do the minimal amount of stuff I have to do to talk to you, and then just throw you in jail. Versus, let's see if we can have a good RP session, and if you come out of here looking like a champ, I'm gonna knock off some money off that ticket.
yeah, bounty rates are way too high. Like, and it's not even that the tickets are too high. I just think that cops shouldn't be making as much money as they are, because it's too much.
Especially now with persistent bounties, that was the biggest thing. When that changed, that's when cops started making a crap ton of money. And I think that they should get paid a good amount, but it shouldn't be as much as it currently is. Like,
I feel like if they're gonna get, I understand like obviously the money thing, and I agree that it should be less. But if they're gonna make it less, they also need to make sure like that things like the MXM don't cost 300 or 250K, stuff like that's kind of insane. Why does it?
When do you buy it multiple times though?
I know, but it's like still, what's the point of having it cost that much in the first place?
And that does too. Like when you couldn't ask for more than one thing, and you could ask for as many crap as you wanted to in hot situations. It's like cop gear costs so damn much to the point where it's like there's no way in hell you're getting cop gear unless you pay the cops the money to get you the gear.
That's probably the point of it right there, is because
Yeah.
it costs too much.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, I can understand that reason for it, but it's like, I don't know. We did it multiple times. we had to pay the cop the money because it's just like, okay, well, you're not going to give it to us clearly, but this is what the whole reason we came here for. So,
So, Kratos, you've been a little quiet on the whole RP thing. Anything to say?
I mean, I definitely agree. Cops should RP more, but and so just want all the money. But what I've seen a lot, even from the rebels, is that if you try to RP, they're not going to be happy with it unless they get a pardon, or their buddies can break you out, they kill you. Like, they just try to stall enough until they can get their buddies there to kill you. That's what I've seen a lot in my experience. They don't actually want to RP, they more want
They
to
wanna
stall
stall.
all the time.
yeah.
Like, and that's a rebel thing, and we can't do anything about that on the cop force. And sometimes that's why they get processed so fast. Sometimes if we don't RP like that, I mean, if it's regular traffic stops, I think we should RP a lot more. But if they're just gonna stall and try to come and kill us, then there's not much we can really do.
What we need to do is those little rooms inside the HQs, like the one in Etheria, they have those little tiny one-room things. They need to make those where you can lock them, then just stick the damn people in them, and then if they decide to have their friends come and try to kill you, they actually have to work to get their friend out. Break the damn
Like
door down.
lockpick the door.
Yeah, like
lockpick
break the door. That way, the cops have a chance to stop the people trying to break them out, but the rebels still have it. Are able to actually get their friends out. What Kevin's suggestion in chat for this was, he said maybe cops get paid by their time played instead of the bounty. Might deter the people who play cop only for money, and obviously make the gear cheap enough to where it won't damage your personal budget. So, cops already have the paycheck. I think if that would honestly... The problem with that, I think, though, is the fact that when you play cop and you get those really high bounty people and you do these really big drug busts, that's what makes cop fun. And you're not making those. If you're not making that money anymore, I don't know if cop's going to be still as fun when you're trying to, do those kind of things.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the search vehicle stuff. I think that's fine. I just think the bounty prices are ridiculous. I mean, when I was a lieutenant, I was making like $5,000 a paycheck. So that's $5,000 every 5 minutes. Okay, that's a lot.
I'm making.
It's a lot.
I'm at 250 donor level, and I'm making 6,000 every 5 minutes. So it's a lot. It is.
Yeah,
It's-
if you're making that, I was making more than that. So
Yeah, you must have been, because I mean that pays for the red goals, pretty much.
Yeah, so it'd be a temporary holding cell, Kevin.
I mean, to add on to the money making, I mean, yeah, like it's super easy to make money, but I can't count how many times like I've come on and there's been 2 manslaughter people, 3 manslaughter people like in Cavallo who can role play it as self-defense, and there's no way you can know that it's not self-defense. And what are you gonna just be like, no?
But you don't have to agree with him if you don't
Right.
want to.
But like role playing it out, like I like to just, all right, man, I believe you. I'll give you
Yeah, but
a
it's like-
$500.
I had a situation once in Cavallo where a player, he just kept getting wanted and kept saying it was self-defense. Eventually, I stopped believing it. Like,
Oh yeah,
that kind of situation.
when they do it over and over again.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, and I've noticed this. When you don't have any money, like I gave away all my money. I know a thing about not having any money anymore. Like when you don't have any money, everything matters. Like, and legitimately, there have been several instances so far where I really have had to kill people in self-defense multiple times because they keep trying to rob me. Like, and like I'm thinking to my cop, like when I was a cop, I wouldn't have believed somebody texting me multiple times in the hour like that I killed people in self-defense. But people really do just stalk and rob. Like it really is a thing.
Yeah, it is.
So
I remember when I first joined the server, some of the most fun I had was stuff like that. I remember I had just got done with a turtle run, one of the only turtle runs I've ever done. And we were at the gas station, the ATM by Coke processing, and like 4 dudes roll up in a car. I think it might have been Warfare. I don't remember. 4 dudes roll up in a car and go into the gas station and say like, "Somebody put your hands up." This is the guy I did turtles with. They said, "Put your hands up," and then they shot him in the face. Didn't even give him time to react or whatever. At least that's what it sounded like. I was across the street in a house with an S-Star. They all got in the car, and I shot and killed all 4 of them as soon as they got in the car. And I don't know if I feel like it was Warfare.
It wasn't me. I'm thinking about this. It wasn't me. The only time I've ever encountered something like that with turtle poaching was when I got robbed doing turtles.
But that situation was the situation where it's like I texted a cop like, "Yo, I just killed 4 people in self-defense," and like, obviously it wasn't self-defense. It was sort of like I killed them in defense of I don't know.
See, but it wasn't self-defense either. If they were trying to leave, it wasn't self-defense. But if that's the biggest thing is people seem to have the idea that, oh, well, they were leaving and I shot them as they were driving away. It's like, well, you're not defending anything. You're not fighting for your life.
Needs to be justified, like as a new rule or something like.
I think it is a rule, right? It actually literally says if you kill them in a justifiable manner.
Right, but like how big or how much can you stretch that? How much can someone like
And we can't
say?
prove it either.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like I would go into call and someone would be like, "Yeah, this happened. It was all self-defense." What am I gonna be like? I don't think you.
Well, if they have a variety of charges, like they have manslaughter and like a few other things as well, like if they have anything but manslaughter, I'll most likely not pardon them. Maybe I'll give them
4 manslaughters, and they're like, "Yeah, 4 dudes rolled up on me, and I was doing this, and it wasn't a red zone. It was like a legal processor, and I killed them all."
And for situations where it's like more than 2 manslaughters, what I like to do is give them. Obviously, this kind of sucks again. Like Snake said, you're a PO, so you don't really have this wiggle room. But I would give them a partial ticket. I would say, okay, well, listen, I wasn't there. I can't verify that. That's a lot of people dead. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that it's self-defense, but I can't just let you walk away without charging you. That's too many dead people.
Same.
yeah, I think the same thing. Like if it was more than 2, I would never pardon. But then like I had situations like I've had the last 2 days where I was robbed by 5 guys and killed all 5 of them, and then I was robbed by 4 guys and killed all 4 of them, and now I have 9 counts of manslaughter, and it's like,
Right. If you're a civ and you're going to a cop, you're like, they're never gonna believe me, but this is like exactly what happened. I don't know. It's just kind of a gray area as to what to do.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this is the thing that I always like. People like to RP situations like when they're trying to keep from getting captured, by the cops, and they'll try and shoot at cops or kill cops, and they'll get captured. I more often than not, will always charge those people fully. Whereas if you are a criminal, even if I don't care if you're bourbon stealth, if you walk into the HQ and say I'm turning myself in with this bounty, I am most certainly gonna give you a discount to some extent on the ticket, most likely 50%.
See, I don't do that simply because people would constantly keep doing it. Then they're like, "Oh, well, McDilly gave me a half ticket because I turned myself in. Let me go turn myself in again." So
well, that's fine, dude.
that's a good thing though.
Yeah,
That's a good thing. And also, I want to something that Ace just said in the chat about people have too much money. I was talking about this with Stealth the other day. Like, people really do have too much. There is literally nothing. I have 10 mil already. I gave away 30 mil 2 days ago. I have $10 million. Like,
yeah, it's really ridiculous, to be honest. And I don't want to say, I'm obviously not going to mention any other server names, but there are other servers that, I guess you could call them competitors, where you don't have a lot of money and it's a lot harder to make money. And in my opinion,
It's
Even though
more interesting.
It's more interesting that way because everything's way more valuable.
You value everything you get. You're like, man, I really do not want to lose this Katiba right here. It's my, it's costing me a crap ton of money.
Right. This is half my total right here. Like,
Yeah.
So I think Olympus could legitimately use a wipe. Like, it's never had one in the 9 months it's been up.
The problem with it is if you wipe, so many people will quit because they will not want to have to do a grind fest again. Because
It's not that hard of a grind, though.
If you make it harder to make money and you wipe everything, I agree it would be super easy for me to make my money back. I wouldn't quit, but I know a lot of people that probably would because it's like they just spent, weeks on weeks on weeks sitting here making money so they can have fun, and now they're just going to get wiped, and it's like, well, shit, what the hell do I do now? Do I really want to sit there and spend the next couple weeks again?
Well, that's always the risk. There's always the pros and cons. You have one situation where people join the server without money and get completely destroyed by people that always have money, and they don't care if they lose their stuff, versus a situation where you wipe, a bunch of people leave, but also a bunch of people come and don't leave because everyone has no money, and everyone's trying to make some money, and everyone's kind of working together, making sure it's fun for everybody after a wipe. That's definitely true in a situation like that because no one has money and everyone's trying to make money, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, think about it. Then you got every house, every garage. You have all, everybody's on the level playing field again, and that's not how it's been since. Virus literally has enough money to give every single person that's ever played the server $10,000. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's trying to go for $1 billion. That's his new goal here.
And he's gonna make it too. And that's the thing, like money on the server, 100%. Like it definitely is too easy to make because you have a situation where your Mark 18's 120 grand at non-donor level. Like that's nothing. That really is nothing. You can make 120 grand real quick. That's 2 gas station robberies, dude. Like. That's nothing. Like,
yeah, I think we could definitely like what H said is prices should go up, and I agree. We should see prices go up on a lot of the items, but then we need to balance it out on the cop side too. Because if we're paying a lot more on Civ, I want to see the cops stop making so much on when they're playing too. Because it's that.
I agree.
Again, it's going to be let's go play Civ to kill people, and then let's go play on cop to go make bank. So.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone should be making less money, and everything should be way more expensive. Obviously, the cops at some point, I understand they're trying to simulate a system where there's backup, and a cop without money that has nothing, if he has no vehicle, is kind of useless. But there's also, obviously there needs to be some sort of, there's already a system in place where if you have less than $25,000, you'll have $25,000 upon the reset, which is good. But yeah, like, there should definitely be less money making. I think guns and certain vehicles should be way more expensive. I'm talking like the amount of money that it takes to chrome shit out, it should be that expensive just for the vehicle, like certain vehicles. Like for a Mohawk, I think, it's going to sound crazy, but dude, 3.5 mil for a Mohawk.
Isn't it right? I'm pretty sure it's 3 mil to chrome a Mohawk.
What?
I think it's 3 mil to chrome a Mohawk.
I think he's talking about the price in general.
I'm talking about the price in general.
To buy it? Yeah, definitely price. We played on a server earlier where things were expensive as shit. Like it was like $500K to get like a Rebel license and just everything. Like what was it, Kratos, for like the bomb, the thing for doing the Fed? It was like $50,000.
Yeah, it was. It was like really expensive.
Well, that's one of the things that should be too. Like the prison break, our prison break on our server, and the Fed robs. Like those bombs are so easy to get, dude.
They're troll zones.
They should be a couple $100,000 in my opinion.
If I could add something about, I know like a bunch of people think that the cops have so much money. I think something should be implemented where, as if you're playing with, like if you're higher up to someone else, like for example, if I'm a PO and it's a deputy, you're like playing with them and you like get them together, you should be required to give that like deputy the bounty. Like
the problem with that is the fact that people have been using that to their advantage now, and every single time I play I hear, well, I'm the lower rank, you should let me process. It's like, yeah, I agree you should get some practice here, but stop using it as a way to make money.
Like you're required to split it.
There's literally a guy, and I won't say his name, but he will not take a ride alone. He wants to be a deputy forever.
And that's probably why.
And he makes money.
Yeah, but there's also corporals, and I'm not going to say any names, who just take every bounty.
You don't have to just...
I think we all know who we're talking about here.
Okay, well, it's not just Virus. I've played with other corporals who, you help get someone, and they're just they're sending that person to jail. They're getting that bounty. You don't get any money of that. And I'm not complaining. I have plenty of money, but there's it's just something should be implemented where if you're not by yourself and you're with a group of people, you should split. You should at least be required to split
It's
it with
actually-
that many people.
That brings up something like about being by yourself. Like recently, today, they're trying to do something where only corporals and higher can join unit channels, and then those people will be able to pull other cops into those unit channels, so it keeps people together in cities. Which, in my opinion, I feel like this looks good on paper, but I feel like it's not going to work because people are just going to be in a Thera city patrolling around the island.
They'll
You know
be,
what I mean?
Yeah, they'll be everywhere. They won't be where they're assigned to or where they're trying to be. They'll just go everywhere. Like, oh well, I'm a PO. I'm allowed to go. I'm allowed to patrol wherever I want. It's like, yeah, but you're assigned to a Thera. You should be generally in a Thera. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I need backup at the airport, and you're over in Sofia. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Cities are overmanned, though. You don't need 6 cops in any city. Like, honestly, I think if there was more of a partner thing, cops break up in pairs of 2 and just literally patrol. Like, I don't understand why we have to have people parked. I always just patrol when I played, and I always encourage people to just patrol. Like, there's no reason for you to just be sitting in Cavallo with your thumb up your ass for 2 hours. Like,
and get trolled the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Get in a sports hatchback and drive around the map. Like, stay in your general area, yes, but there's no, like, it's stupid how people just flock together.
Yeah, that's always, it's kind of, I don't like that either. Like, especially when there's, like, 6 cops in Cavallo. I hate seeing that. Of course, sometimes there's your terror, and sometimes Cavallo is a shitstorm, and you need to take care of it. But it's like, once that shitstorm is over, it's like...
Yeah, redeploy.
Yeah,
well,
I made the decision before, like what Snake said, to just be assigned a person or pick a person that you want to drive around with and just drive everywhere. Forget the whole city crap. If you want to make it to where there's certain, like, break up Altus into 3 sections and be like, okay, you can patrol this area, you guys can patrol this area, and just have them drive around. That's so much more realistic than let's go stick 10 cops in Kabbalah and just have them stand in a damn basketball court the whole time.
Yeah, I usually like to take people in Kabbalah. It'll be like 3 cops, but me and 2 others or something like that. That's what I usually like to have it. And we just drive around. We don't sit in Kabbalah hardly at all. We go around, check weed processing and weed field, and we just patrol the MSR a little bit here and there and check out. Maybe we'll go to cocaine processing if it's on the way to something like that. But
yeah,
because 911s happen a lot around Kabbalah, not just in Kabbalah, but like around the areas outside of it. Like the copper field or whatever, like the mine there. That place will always get robbed over there.
Yeah, there's been multiple times where I've been in like a unit with like some corporals and POs, and then I look up and I see like 2 deputies in Cavallo, and I'm like, I want to go there so I can like patrol with them. I'm like, come on, get in my car, let's go. We're gonna drive around.
There's those deputies that just won't leave too, right? They're like, I can't remember who it was. I think it was when me and you, McLeod, were doing our 24. There was that guy that just always wanted to be in Cavallo. He was a deputy. He didn't want to go anywhere else. And it just...
I know, yeah, he's a PO now. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that was so sketchy, to be honest. I felt like he was up to no good for some reason, because he's like, I don't want to go anywhere. He'd always play by himself. If there was people in Cabal, he'd go to like Pargos and be by himself.
He always wanted to be by himself. He didn't want to be in a team. So let's do a few of the questions and check if people have some questions. So he said, what are the opinions of the higher ranking APD and ex-lieutenant on how jailbreaks have turned into a way to just have a mini wasteland area on the map for 30 minutes? So, you know.
The jail, from what I heard, I'm not sure if it's true, but it's rumored that it's going to be moved to above that place, that dome area next to the lithium mine.
It will be moved, yeah. 100%. Jen Drack already said it's going to be moved up there.
And that's going to be awesome, because the jail right now doesn't make sense at all. There's obviously no prison guards. That's always been the case, but you also now have a situation where there's one way onto the jail from land, and it's just it's a turkey shoot. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think maybe what they were trying to do is simulate it, so make sure the cops had to work hard, but it really only takes a few people with some lines of sight to shut the bridge down.
Who was it? Damos and
Big Bad
Adam. They fucked us every single time.
Yeah.
Like there was no way we could even get across the bridge. We tried swimming. We tried, we could fly over there. Nothing worked. They were just destroying us, and it was crap. It's like, this is not fun. Like, I understand it's part of the game, but we need more ways to where they can't just look at a bridge and stop everything coming across.
Yeah, the new jail, I did a flyover. Now, I don't know if Ginger plans on adding some walls in there and stuff like that, but that place looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. There's a lot of enterable buildings. There's a lot of close quarters area, but there's also lanes of fire, and there's a tower right on the outside entrance that has a direct line of sight to the jail door. And that's going to be like a key point. You're going to want to cut cops in there and rebels in there. But the cool thing about it is that it's outside of the jail, so it's going to be a point where either rebels are going to need to be in it beforehand, and cops are going to be able to get actually up there and start fighting without getting shit on the way up and stuff like that. So it's honestly going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, when Jindrak originally, I think Hades and Jindrak started talking about the idea, and I actually brought it up to Jindrak separately for the whole idea of this blast charge-based jail. It sounded like such a good idea, and it has turned out to be the opposite of what we had all anticipated from it, I think. And it is really disappointing to see. So I hope that the new location is helpful, because right now it is trivial. If you have two good players, you can lock down that island pretty much from all angles. So
Ace wants to join.
Yeah, and I told him to message me on here so I can give him the link.
Hey,
All right.
What's up?
what was the question about like the higher ups and
Okay,
the jail?
so what's
Oh my God.
the next one was, why is it when people get sergeant they only play with lieutenants, or they just go AFK and think, well, I beat the game, good game. And you know my opinion on this, McDilly. You know I hate when every little higher up plays with each other, and I can understand why too. It's like you guys are all friends, you want to play with your friends, and you want to just have fun.
And sometimes it's like, like for instance, I don't really know Kratos and Wheat Kings, and I've not really played with them very much at all. So it's like these guys are supposed to be my superiors, and I kind of want to get to know them. So in that situation, it's like I kind of want to play with them just to kind of get to know them at least. Same goes for Wheat Kings and stuff like that. Now I've played with the higher ups on Civ, which I think is perfectly fine. But I agree with you that they shouldn't be playing with higher ups all the time and on COP. And I personally, if you'd have seen me in the past few days, we've had almost 20 deputies pass interviews the other day. And I've been playing with deputies for the past few days now, and I've had fun, to be honest. And like Warfare, you made the point. Sometimes you see me playing with Corporate Move and the guys from MC, and yeah, sometimes I do. But I feel like it's okay to play with people you know occasionally. Obviously, you're gonna have to eventually because they're your friends, and you do want to play with them at some point. But
I have a question for you, McDilly.
What's up?
So, a lot of people think, hires. Like I've had so many deputies that come in, and I'm with them, and they go, "Oh, higher up has come on. I need to go play with that person to get promoted."
yeah,
a lot of
annoying
people,
shit.
yeah, a lot of people think that, you're not gonna get looked at, you're not gonna get noticed unless you're actually playing with the higher up. And granted, there's people, there's so many cops that if you don't play with like a higher up here and there, or
Well, let me here. I'm gonna respond in a couple different ways. First, I want to say that it should be a higher up's objective to be playing with cops that they haven't played before. They should be able to look in the list and see, hey, I haven't played with that person before. Let me go play with them and see how they do. They need to be watching. It should be their responsibility to be watching these deputies and patrol officers and make sure that they're good to be cops and on the right level. That said, I also speak from a position where when I was rising through the ranks, I also felt like, yeah, it's kind of bullshit. You see higher-ups playing with higher-ups. You see a certain group of people always playing with a certain group of people. There's always a higher-up in that group or something like that. And I feel like I've kind of put in a situation that I pride myself on. A lot of people said you have to be in Bourbon to be a higher-up. You have to stream to be a higher-up. You have to donate to higher-up. And I was neither of those things.
I think you're missing the point that you did donate to Ace, so let's not avoid that situation at hand.
Oh
okay?
my! I was already gonna be a sergeant.
Gave him money, and all of a sudden this dude gets the tags.
I want to toss out something from an ex-higher-up's point of view, so I can say whatever I want. When I played as cop, there are three things that I wanted to do. One, I wanted to play with my friends. My friends happen to be higher ranks because guess what? They joined the APD the same time I did.
Right.
That's why we're higher ranks. We've been here for a long time. Two, and that's no different than anyone else. Like POs play with their friends who are POs, you know. Corporals play with friends who are corporals. Like you play with your friends. It's a video game,
Right.
and that's one reason why I've always had issues with my procedure, if you will. It's because I never stopped letting it be a video game. So, and third, like the whole must play with the higher up thing is. There's like nothing more annoying than that, because then you get this situation where as a higher up you don't even want to go down there, because you jump down there, and it's the same thing for mods and admins. You jump down into a channel with normies, and next thing you know, it's like 50 messages or 50 people trying to play with you instantly, and it's like it's too much. Like I get their perspective too, because I've been there, but it's just too much.
Well, you already know what the questions are going to be. Can I get a ride along? Can I get a ride along?
Exactly.
Oh, you're a
It's the same thing
moderator.
for
Can
every
you ban
person.
this guy? Can you ban this guy? It's like we were playing in Kratos, we're playing cop with Ebb, and this guy talks in group chat. Oh, this guy just combat logged on me. Can you ban him? It's like, dude, just fucking submit a goddamn ticket. Like,
Well, yeah, that's always the way it says. Like, you'll see that from Ace too. Every time someone comes and says, "Ace, this guy just comment," submit a ticket. That's all it is. That's all you have to say. Submit a ticket.
It's like-
And for people that ask for ride along, stop asking. Like, that's how I do it. I mean, I understand your perspective. Yeah, it could be too much sometimes, but I also feel like you can stop it too. From my perspective, if someone asks me for a ride along, I might check them out to see if they're ready, but most of the time I'll say, "We'll come to you." Sorry. And then if, like, from Ace, like when people ask him, "Hey, can you ban this guy or whatever? I got this video." Ace tell him, submit a ticket. Like, that's how it should be. That's how you deal with that. Yeah, you get that message like every 10 minutes, but I mean, it only takes you a second to say sorry. Do it the right way.
Can you guys hear me?
I hear you now.
Yep.
What's up, Ace? How you doing?
What's up, guys? What's going on?
All right, so we got some strong opinions coming in from Ace. Are we ready to listen to them? I know you probably have some strong opinions about Cop. I think everybody knows that.
I mean, everybody's got their own opinions about a bunch of stuff. I think a lot of things that I've heard is like mostly stuff that I don't expect everybody to understand. With one being as far as trying to not keep everybody in cities. As everybody knows, Kavala is like the worst troll city ever.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to take and put everybody that's on the game and not have certain cops in the city. He hates being in the cities. I absolutely hated staying in freaking Kavala when I was like a PO and a cadet, or as constable and cadet back then. But the thing I did notice the most, though, is like that's where I learned 90% of this stuff. That's where I learned how to deal with everybody. That's where I learned how to deal. I process so much more people in Kavala and stuff like that. I think Kavala being a main city, that's where all the new spawns go. That's where everybody starts out. I'm not saying that you have to stay in the square constantly. I'm not saying you have to be right there in the basketball court all the time. When I put people in Kavala, I don't want people to just sit there. It sucks. There's no point in playing the game if you're just sitting there. I mean, you can do patrols throughout the city. You can go down Kavala checkpoint, run it, or roll up and down the MSR and then go back and check on the city every now and then. That's what I used to do back in the day, And like when you have like people man out there in Pygos, usually I think tonight was and Friday night I think was the most that I've had as many cops on as I've seen in a long time at one time during all three servers. They were packed with cops. But when you have like 5 cops in Ethereum and like 6 cops in Pygos or something like that, however it may be, you the way I perceive when I have somebody in the city is like I don't want them sitting in that city the whole time. I want them patrolling the area around the city. Ethereum, I want them, going backwards up through there. Me and Colonel used to take when we'd stay in Ethereum. Ethereum was my favorite place to go. Absolute favorite places to go. Like Virus actually put in there. That was my favorite place to be was Ethereum. I thought it was like a royal area. You could go out to the freaking country, man. Go check cocaine. Go down, drive by the airport, all that stuff like that. That's what it's all about. I think a lot of people lost view of that, and I think a lot of that is our fault, my fault, a lot of the higher ups' faults, for not teaching that. I think that's definitely something we can work on better, honestly.
Yeah, I used to sit in Ethereum with Bobby for hours and hours, and we would just roll all around and do stuff like that. So that's something that did get lost at some point, and I don't really know when it happened.
It makes total sense, though, like, of putting new people in Kavala, all because you do learn to deal with it. If you can't deal with the cesspool that is Kavala, you're not going to make it as a cop. You're just going to get irritated with every little stupid situation, every little dumb person that tries to do some crap RP that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And it's definitely a good place to put people when they first start out. I just wish people would stop using that place as a crutch and just chilling there the whole entire time and not actually trying to explore the map and see what everything else is like and trying to actually catch other people.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that weapons being so readily available in the city also cause a lot of the problems that we have with Kavala, though. Like, I feel like if the gun store was, like, either not a thing or was, like, farther than Gang Hideout is away from Kavala, there would be significantly less crime in the city, and thus maybe open things up a little more.
I agree. People want to troll. They're like, okay, what do I want to do? Oh, I'll go to the gun store, grab a little PDW, or grab a rook and become the next Rook Legend, and you just sit there and just keep doing the dumb RP and killing people as many as you can, and that's just the reason why there's so much damn killing in Kavala. It's always rooks and PDWs. You never see people going around with illegal weapons in there. So.
This is a good question. I'm just saying, would APD ever consider having non-mod admins being LT or deputy chief? We actually did think about that, and up until Gary, everything the way we were going to do it is to have no more mods come through that were high rank APD members. But the problem is with that is a lot of people that come onto the server, a lot of the guys that we interact with end up being APD. A lot of constant guys. If you notice, I'm not saying everybody because there's a lot of gang stuff out there that none of them's cops, but a lot of your main guys, everybody you talk to every single day, you trust a lot, become great friends with, become cops. And then that's how I talk to 90% of the people, whatever that I talk to every day are cops. You know, I mean that's guys I play with. You know, that's guys we all trust. And the thing about higher ups and being mod and admins and stuff like that is, to be a mod and an admin, you have to have someone you trust. You can't give that type of power to somebody that's, you know, they may have been on the server for 6 months, but you have no idea who they are. You don't know what type of person they are. You don't know nothing about them. And that's the hard part. And me and Travis talked about it, about, you know, basically not doing that anymore, and which that would, of course, knock me and Travis out of the positions that we're in, Kratos, Wheat Kings, Gary, I mean, all of us. You know, there'd be a big bunch of us out of the higher-ups that would just be gone. From being cops, or we'd have to choose to stay cop and lose the admin side of things, which none of us want to do because it takes a lot of work to run these servers. But so I mean, it's kind of a touchy thing that has been thought of. It has been you know, discussed between all of us, Poseidon, Hades, all of us included, and it's one of those things that I'm not going to say isn't going to happen. I'm not going to say that is, because it's kind of a big decision, you know. Because cops my favorite thing to do, but I do a lot of work for the server for admin, and I love it. You know what I mean? I love being able to help, you know, with all this junk. So
not to mention, I mean, at least from APD to staff, I mean, like lieutenant position at the very least has some semblance of doing tickets and stuff like that for applications. So I mean, at that point, you know, you could actually, I mean, you kind of get to see how responsible and accountable they are as a person in general if they're playing cop. So that, I feel like that has to have some sort of factoring into, like, for instance, why Grandma Gary got mod. Obviously, he does tickets all the time, and he's a nice guy and doesn't break rules. He's a cop in a position, so you know he's already, he had to get trusted to get to where he was as a lieutenant anyway. So, I mean, I feel like it's always going to be those people that are responsible and accountable for stuff that hit these positions most of the time, and they're already doing tickets for applications, so you already know that they can handle part of it anyway. So I was actually going to say the similar thing, is that it would be almost impossible for them to think of someone who only plays civilian that they could trust to the capacity that they know they could trust a high-ranking cop.
Exactly.
You know,
they just, you don't have the same interaction with them. They're not required to be in TeamSpeak the same amount, you know. There's just not that day-to-day interaction.
Well, the fact that the cops learn the rules and everything too, you know, they have to memorize the whole handbook. You know, you're definitely going to experience, interacting with them a lot more than you would. And yeah, I don't think anybody here could say, oh yeah, that's Civ. Yeah, he definitely should be a moderator. I don't think anybody could do that.
Yeah, like Stealth knows the rules better than anybody. Like that, like 90% of the cops that I play with, like Stealth's always correcting me, and it's like, he's like he's never gonna be a staff member,
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he doesn't know his stuff. Like, and there's probably a lot of guys that are in that position. It's just there's no way for the admins to see that.
I think the big thing people see, though, is the fact that you have higher-ranking APD, but then they're also a staff member, and it's like, which one gets priority here? And if them doing admin or moderator stuff, is it really affecting the APD side of things with actually getting whatever needs to be done actually done? And that was a big thing I saw.
That's one of the things I used to think about when I was co-officer and corporal and stuff. I used to think, I had the same mentality as Haiti Darkspear. Like, I was like, these guys are all admins and mods, but they're also like these high-ranked positions APD. It kind of felt like these guys are probably being very efficient on either side because they got two different things to manage. But at the same time, like Ace said, it's really hard to pick somebody that's not in that position, as I would imagine.
I mean, from my point of view, I mean, for me, usually when I play cop, I try to put the whole admin thing out of the way, unless it's something that's pretty bad that's happened right there in front of me that has to be dealt with, like a major RDM combat log. I usually don't even bother with combat logs. Just write the name down, deal with them later. For me, anyways, I don't know about any other guys. For me, it's easy. A cop's my favorite thing to do. I have a fine line between me being a cop and me being an admin, and RP as cop is definitely my absolute favorite thing to do. So I think there is a line there. I don't think it affects my ability to do either or.
So he's talking about the line between Travis being an admin and being chief of police, and I think someone brought it up before, being that chief of police isn't supposed to be a person that really goes in the game. They're supposed to be someone that handles the back end stuff and deals with everything from promotions to demotions to rules and all that kind of stuff. And I think everyone sees that, oh, Travis doesn't play, but it's like, I'm sure he does other stuff that really affects what's going on, but no one's ever going to know that unless you're in the inner circle, so to speak, of higher ups. So
yeah, Travis does a lot. Travis is one of the people, and he admits that he doesn't play cop much anymore. Travis has always been, ever since the service started. I think Travis started as a lieutenant, and that's when Zeus was the captain. And I've got nothing against Zeus, but Travis is a way better captain than Zeus is, as far as being involved. You don't have to play to hear what goes on in APD. I know about a lot of people that play this game I've never played with about. I can tell you so much stuff about random people in the APD that nobody that I've never played with. But you hear stories, you hear what's going on, and a lot of times, and I'll give you a little hint that Travis likes to do. He'll probably get mad at me for telling you, but Travis plays Civ a lot, as far as like he'll go under different names and just watch cops. He loves to just watch, listen, see how these deputies are reacting, see how these POs are acting. So just when you think that nothing, that he's never on or he's never doing nothing, trust me, he's there watching.
yeah, it's like Jesus, what was I going to say here? Oh, so just because someone isn't right for one position doesn't mean they're not going to be for a better position. So you say Zeus wasn't good as a captain, but Travis was. So it's like I talked to Snake earlier in the beginning of the stream about maybe you're just not right for a higher up position. Maybe you would do fine at a corporal position. Not everyone's right for everything. There's going to be a line that you probably just can't handle either the work or just you can't be nice to people, and there's just so many things you have to do when it comes to being in a higher up position of people looking at you as kind of like a role model or like just this godly presence. So. All right, I think we beat the APD topic to just a pulp. So we covered.
It's the hot button issue when you have 6 cops in
It
you.
really is, right? So what we can do is we can either talk about town redesign, or in your opinion, who has been like the cop of the week for you that has just either been doing good RP wise or just seems to just really know their stuff, do really good combat wise. So what do we want to go with, town redesign or cop of the week? What does survey say?
Top of the week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cop of the week. Okay,
Snake.
so
Best lethal.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
Vigilante Snake over here.
I am a vigilante. I am a vigilante.
that's just your new
How
pass
about
now.
The guy for $600,000 yesterday, Fink.
I'm surprised he didn't combat log
Go
on
down,
you.
go down the
He
line.
did combat log
Oh,
him. You had to
Jesus
text him
Christ.
afterward.
That seems to be the new thing. Play Vig, get
Man.
combat logged on. Okay, so McDilly, do you have a person of the week that you'd like to that you think did really good, and what would be the reason why for that?
I'm skimming through the list right now because I don't have anything particularly right off the top of my head. I'll probably see something I'll remember if I go by a name that is familiar. Because I've had a few. I remember being impressed very recently with someone, but I can't remember who it was.
Wavius destroyed me the other day.
Did he?
Yeah.
Now,
So
Rick,
before I say this, is Ben still a cop?
well, yeah, I guess that I know of, kinda.
Okay, so
Are you?
when I watched Kratos play with Ben, whether he's lying or not, that's not the point. The fact is, I'm surprised that dude gets so much hate and actually deals with it. That's what I was really surprised about with him. I expected him to just get all this hate and then just want to just quit, but I'm surprised he wants to be a cop so goddamn bad. Like,
Real men take a lot of heat, bro.
apparently,
Trust me.
he, in my opinion, you know, I'm not gonna
David's
say
actually 25.
Oh my god.
you think he's 25. I saw his picture. I saw his Instagram. I had him give it to me. I don't.
Is that Wavius?
No, Ben. The
Yeah,
guy.
he jumped to my channel. We were doing something on cop, and I was talking to Gary. I was talking to Kratos actually. And he just randomly jumps in and is like, "Hey guys, you want my Instagram? I can prove how old I am." You know, blah blah. blah.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Yeah, he's like, he
Watch
puts a little picture of him. He's trying. I want him to do a video next and just be like, start talking and just see what happens from that.
I remember when we were doing interviews and he was one of the ones for interview. I had to tell Gary, I said, Gary, you're gonna have to take this guy because if I get him, I'm gonna pass him because of his voice. Like it was just too cute of
Yeah,
a voice.
that's like when he said, "Oh, it's on Ever Wanted." I was like, "Holy
I know.
fuck!"
It's like, oh, God, I'm falling my hamstrings, bro.
It's like just tears and puppies at this point. Like how can you not pass him? So
Yeah.
I think I have a cop of the week for me that I can think off the top of my head.
all right, who would it be?
Maybe not for like the shot or necessarily his gameplay, but I mean I was just rolling with him. I think his name's like the Hamburglar. He's a PO, but I mean usually like if you're rolling with someone in a hatchback and like I was the driver and you crashed, they're like, oh my god, you want me to drive? But every time I would like hit something or crash or like take the wrong road, he would always RP it out, just like not make me feel like an idiot for like crashing or something.
Yeah,
Like,
like
I had to hit X, drifting one time to avoid something. I pulled into this like gate. He's like, "Oh, you just want to, you just checking out." He like hopped out. He's like, "Anyone here? Everything okay? This house looks, a little old. Making sure the foundation is good. Just RP and everything great." And I don't know. He's a good guy.
There's a cop named Kratos. He goes and talks shit to everybody that crashes their vehicle. I mean, you kill one guy after he does terror, and he gets all pissed about it and just keeps talking shit because you crashed. I mean,
you crashed 3 times.
yeah, it was twice.
Hold
Trying to
on.
leave
No, Kratos can't talk crap about anybody driving. Anybody.
Okay, I'm the worst driver ever. I mean, that's well
Kratos.
known. I let everybody know that. But,
Kratos,
yeah,
if I may.
go ahead.
Constable Cadet days in Pyrgos, okay? There's definitely no way you can talk about driving in any capacity.
Dude, I'm a
We
terrible
used to-
driver.
We would leave HQ with 3 repair kits apiece and not even get to the heroin field, or processor rather, before we were out. Like,
That was you and me both.
Have any of you ever played with Paperbot?
No.
Anyone?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
You
I'm a
had
terrible driver.
He'll and I love him because he'll say, because he knows he's a terrible driver and he knows that I know he's a terrible driver. When I'm playing with him, he's like, "Oh, let me drive," and people are like, just have me Dilly, just have me Dilly. He knows I'm a good driver. Like and he can't get even a kilometer without crashing. It's ridiculous.
The best thing is he always hops in the driver's seat no matter what. Whenever he
Yeah,
gets the opportunity, you're like, "Get out!" He's like, "Nope, I'm driving."
Yeah, I'll crash my car and repair it, and then he'll jump in the driver's seat, and he's like, "All right, it's my turn. I'll keep crashing, so let me drive." And he'll just crash right after that. It's ridiculous. Cop of the week. It's a tough one, but just the other day I was playing Civ, and Mr. Ibzekro almost took all of us out at the Frog Factory by himself.
You know,
And-
those duels have been paying off apparently.
I mean, I haven't RP'd with him very much. I've heard he's had pretty good RP, but he has a pretty good shot. Like, he came out, I didn't actually think he was like any particularly outstanding player, but I mean, he will rush people so hard and destroy them. I never saw it coming out of him, to be honest.
The funny part about Eb's RP is it seems like his mission is to like catch you for as much crap as possible. He's like, "Oh, you're fleeing right now. You walk 2 feet away. Disturb in the peace." Like, he gets you for whatever he can.
I kind of feel bad for the guy at the same time because, you know, Eb's one of those guys that catches so much hell because of how much he donates to everybody and how much he helps everybody out.
Yeah.
And my cop of the week, I honestly have to put Eb, man. He's busted his hind end this past week, dude. The whole time he's been a cop, honestly, trying to get that corporal rank, dude. And like just listening to his RP, like I like to play under different names, like I said with Travis and stuff. And I like to listen to him, man. Like the RP he has with some of these people, like, you know, just some guy be cussing him out, dude, and he'll still RP it out. Like, dang, man, there's no need to get mad. You know, you didn't have to stub your toe this morning, whatever, man. Whatever he comes up with, dude. Like, just crazy stuff, man. And talking about going in and wrecking Dilly, like, because I didn't get wrecked, I promise that. But anyway,
You got wrecked. You got destroyed.
No,
Completely
but
not.
anyways, like I watched this guy go in, man, and just destroy people. And I'll tell you right now, dude, I never thought that he was that good at the game. When after playing with him and stuff like that, and then after watching him and paying attention to him, man, he's pretty good shot.
Yeah, he surprised me. But like that's like you said, some people on how they act when they're under a lot of pressure. I will say someone else, and Snake's gonna hate me for saying it, but there was a situation the other day. Yeah, it's Moob, right? But there was a situation where like Bourbon and Snake was like talking mad shit to him on Civ, and he held his tongue.
It's because he got destroyed, bro.
I know, you beat him, and he held his tongue. Where in the past he probably wouldn't have held his tongue. He would have probably let loose. He held his tongue so hard, and I could tell it was killing him. It was killing him so hard. But
He would have said something else. Probably would
Can you
have
fill
flipped
me in on the
him.
rest of the story, please? Basically, Corporal Move dropped the ball and let Stealth get pardoned because he lost a heads-up duel against myself. Twice.
I shouldn't have picked him, but it's because he had been awake for like 20 hours or some bullshit, and but I picked him anyway because I wanted to see Move versus Snake. I wanted to see it happen. Of course, now I want to see a rematch, but still, it was still worth it.
It'll go the same way every time, bud.
Well, hopefully next time he'll get a shot off, you know?
Would have his head glitch or whatever his thing was, his head glitch where he couldn't turn or something.
That's what I would have said if I lost too.
Well, the first round his free look was fucked or something like that. I don't know what happened in the second round, but yeah, it will be whatever. The point was like, even though you were like, I think the point today is I am a great fucking lawyer and Moob definitely got destroyed by me and I am definitely the better player.
Yeah,
And
he's
he
like, get fucked.
I basically walked out with a huge middle finger in his face the entire time.
Yeah, and to be honest, with the specific problems that we had with him before, he held his tongue and didn't actually come out and, say anything back that was particularly impolite or anything. So that was.
I expected him to flip shit. I was just.
I
waiting
did too.
for it.
I thought that was gonna be the end of Moob. Right there, when that happened, I thought that's it. He's gonna snap and he's gonna say some shit. Then we're gonna have to.
He ain't gonna be cop no more.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be it.
I was really hoping.
I know you were a Snake. I know.
All right, so Kratos, do you have a cop of the week? Can you think of anybody?
Well, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Ace on this one. Like, I've been playing with Eb a whole lot recently, and like, I think he's really underestimated for how good he actually is at the game. Like, he goes to heroin all the time, he patrols it all the time, and I don't think I've ever seen him lose a gunfight. against guys over there. So
You know,
he's definitely
you forget about
really-
our duel against him. Okay, we won.
I mean, we did. You know, it was close. We won by 1 round, but
You know, a win's a win.
Win is win.
Yeah.
No,
Eb, he has great RT and just a great of the game. So I think Eb will be on Cop of the Week.
Now I will say on Cop of the Week, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm playing from the perspective that I used to have when I wasn't a sergeant. Y'all do play with Eb a lot.
That's true.
Is there more to this?
I have a legitimate Cop of the Week.
A legitimate one?
Legitimate.
To gloss over that comment that McBilly just made.
All right, what's your legitimate one?
All right, my legitimate Cop of the Week would be Lonnie85. I saw this gentleman earlier this week dealing with a Civ in Kavala, just a random normal old dude wanted for like 1 manslaughter, and I was screaming at him to get in the hunter. And dude just stood there and RP'd like 10 minutes with a dude that was wanted for like 40K. But I mean, that's what we should.
That's awesome.
Cops should be doing.
I like what Chrono said in chat. Papa Munsky definitely Civ of the Week, 100%. That guy's awesome. Papa Munsky and his whole Taxi series and everything, dude. That's like one of the best RPers.
Me and Kratos and Eb, we like abuse the crap out of these 2 guys. Who was it? It wasn't Real Slim Shady.
Ricky Wu and Steven.
Yeah.
Real Slim Shady.
they were inside ATM machines.
Those guys, they're great sports. They're really good at RPing too. They're really cool guys.
So, the topic with Eb is that you're saying how people have like this, just they're already opinion on him because they see what he donates. I think that's the biggest problem with everyone in the community is like they look at what he does and they instantly have a certain opinion on him, whether it be they fucking hate him or they love him. There's no like middle point of like no one has the mentality of I've never talked to him, so I don't know what I think of him. And
yeah, I mean, here my mentality of Eb is regardless of what he donates for, whether he's insecure, whether he's this, that, or the other, it doesn't matter because he's giving his money away to other people because he wants to, because they might have problems. I'll tell you this, all right? I haven't told really a lot of people this, but I would not have had Christmas without Eb. Period. End of story. Period. End of story. Okay. I mean that's the way it was. So, and now anyone can look in that and say blah blah blah. You're friends with Eb, etc. But if he makes a Christmas for somebody, just one person, I mean, he's not just for me. I mean, he's helped Ace out on some bills Ace had to pay. He's helped Pink Streak out on her tuition. I mean, you know, he helps all these people out with these problems that they're having, and like Warfare, you just said he paid off your computer. I mean, he helps people with his money all the time. I mean, that's just about as generous as it gets. He cannot be an asshole if he's that kind of a person. I mean, yeah, he might say something that somebody might be mad about or whatever, but at the end of the day, what he does that's might be considered like douchey versus what he does to help people out. You know what I mean? It's just he's obviously just.
I think a lot of people's view who've never played with him or talked to him just think, oh, some guy came in here, he donated a bunch of money, he gets to play with the higher ups. This is from like low ranking cops.
Right.
I guess their perspective is like a guy just comes in, he donates to all the higher ups, he gets to play with them, he's gonna cruise his way through the ranking system, and I guess people think it's unfair, but those are the people who don't know him and don't, like you guys were saying, he's a cop of the week, he's a great shot and all that, and he's proven himself that he's not just it's not about him.
Yeah, that's one of the things I liked about him, because even though he donated all this money, he still puts in as much
plays
effort.
all the time.
He puts in more effort than a lot of people actually put into RP into the game. You know what I mean, like that, and that says something about him. He's not just somebody who has a lot of money and relaxes. He still puts in the hard work.
Right.
I just hate people that just don't already have a set opinion on someone before they actually have any kind of experiences with them. It's like,
yeah, that always puts me off.
Jesus Christ, just talk to the person first before you say you fucking hate them for no reason. Like, that's all you gotta do. Quite honestly. Alright, well, let's talk about town redesign, because personally, I think it was a pretty big thing with the fact that ever since Jendrak stepped down from, what was he, admin, right?
Yeah.
He's fucking just smashed shit out with actually getting stuff done with the map. And I think people take it for granted here. Like they kind of assume that should be the norm. It's like, nah, this dude's putting in so much work. He sits there for 6 hours the first time when he was doing it, and it's like, I think the changes were good. Personally, I think it made things look a hell of a lot nicer than instead of having all these iPads everywhere and interacting with crap that doesn't make any sense. Like you're ordering some shit from the future. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say that Jindrak went from back when we first started all this, like he had actually turned down an admin position, and we talked him into it, and he started the whole admin. And the thing with it, like, there's a lot behind the scenes that admin has to do, the tickets and all that junk. And I think that kind of all got to him, and he decided to step down. But he took a good break, and then that's why he came out with all of this map that he just did, which is awesome. And he's still, like I said, redesigning. I heard y'all talking a little bit ago about a new jail. I want to say something on it real quick. The current jail place was put there as kind of an experiment. Swapped to that jail, like that type of jail, whatever. We wanted to put it kind of somewhere familiar, you know what I'm saying? I agree. I hate the position it's at right now. It sucks so bad. It is being moved whenever he decides to do the whole redesign and stuff like that. But with what we had at the time, it was kind of like an ideal place to kind of, I guess, put it there. But yeah, Jen's fullback in action with map design and playing the games like that. So hopefully we see great things coming out of that here soon.
Yeah, he's a real good-looking guy, by the way. Just
So we talked earlier about having temporary jail cells, so to speak, the little green boxes, having it sort of be where cops can open them and close them like you can with the jail, or not jail doors, but the Fed door. Yeah, the Fed doors. Is that something that you would back? Is it something that you think is stupid? Like, what is your opinion on that?
I don't think it's a bad idea. Something like you have to like bolt cut to get in or something like that. It's something that could be done as far as like you said, the Fed doors or something like that. That could be done. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
that'd actually be a good idea because just giving more use to bolt cutters, people reason to have bolt cutters instead of lockpicks.
Instead of just breaking into houses and exploiting my crates. I mean, the biggest thing with it is like it adds some shit where people can't just come in and say, "Well, my 12 friends are gonna shoot you now." It's like, hey, I'm gonna stick you in this lockbox and let's see how this goes first before you start saying you're gonna get out of here like it's nothing big. So
it's something like that, though. The thing is that, and this happened the other day with a few cops. It's like we were chasing them. There were 9 of us in a Taru bench. Okay, 8 gunners and a pilot.
Was this the thing with virus?
Yeah.
Okay. So
we chased him to the HQ with 9 people, and because of the current state of the HQ, he can just respawn. He didn't surrender. He just kept respawning. I'm not calling him out. I'm just saying, like, if there was some kind of lockbox thing, cops should not be able to just respawn back at that HQ, because that's like, that would be crazy.
Here's the thing. I think we have to. The rule right now is set that you have to have a 5-minute top deal before you can call an HQ. And the reason that was made was because people would do it instantly and then would cause a terror and then do all kind of, I mean, it kind of just ruined the whole point of the whole thing. But the thing I've seen most, like here recently, is like that right there, people getting in fights, and then all of a sudden the cops just keep respawning, getting spawn killed. Actually, me and Snake had an instance with that. And I think that we need to adjust the way something's written, or a way that, like, if you're there, you can't spawn, you can't do anything like that, and the guys are, whatever the case may be, trying to take the HQ or just trying to get their buddies out. I think there needs to be something set where you can get out of that, you know what I'm saying?
Something like if you
spawns or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, something like if you die within the actual walls of the HQ, you can't respawn at that HQ or something like that. You know what I'm saying? to avoid that repeated respawn in the same spot, or I guess maybe random spawns around the HQ, but then that also still puts the rebels at a major disadvantage because they have an endless flood of cops.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. Is
So-
like when I had my big RP with McDilly was we were just trying to get one person out of the damn HQ and we couldn't do it. There was like 8 of us and it was just constant cops spawning in. And I had a problem before with one of my gang members where he killed a cop right when he respawned in a situation like that and he got banned for RDM for it. So now I'm like, okay, everyone needs to start yelling at these cops to put their hands up or else you're probably going to get banned for it. And now that, and then by the time that happens, they're just shooting at you already. It's like,
I disagree with that. I think Hades said something about like you have to reinitiate. Technically, that's 5-minute rule. You know what I'm saying? It don't take 5 minutes for that to happen. It shouldn't be.
What Hades is saying is new life rule though, because
Yeah,
of
I
the new
know.
yeah.
but if it's supposed to be simulated backup, they would know
Right,
what the hell's
right.
going on. It's not like they're coming in blind.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how I feel about it, because it should be simulated backup. They should know what's going on. It should be free to fire on both sides, in my opinion. For at least fighting inside of an HQ like that.
Yeah, it was Wheat that made the suggestion of having a capture point inside of it, like they do with the gang hideouts. Where you-
Actually, Virus made that suggestion.
Wheat King actually made it a lot longer before that, though.
Oh, did
actually. Yeah, we've been talking about that for a long time. Where you could just capture it, and then it's like, okay, it's captured now, and then the cops have to figure out a way to recapture it back. I don't think people will actually sit there and camp these HQs. I think the only time someone wants to actually take an HQ is either to get somebody out, or maybe they're just assholes. I don't know, but I've just never seen people actually use the ability to take an HQ unless they're trying to get somebody out of there.
Well, see, that's the thing though. That's because people aren't going to sit in an HQ and call it in a text message for no reason, because that's not really a good way to troll. But I tell you what, if you have a flagpole like that, one guy's going to come into the HQ randomly while there's a prison break or something, and all of y'all are at the prison, and he's going to pull that flagpole down, and you're not going to
Yep.
know what's going on.
Sure,
It's
sure.
just you one guy doing it.
Yeah, the biggest thing that turned me off about the whole HQ takeover crap was when I used to have the house inside Sophia HQ and we would sit here and do a hostage situation, and the cop would either not agree to what we wanted or something, or the Civ would just kill himself like a dick. We were stuck in this house now while there's cops outside, and I could just slay them the whole time, and there's no way I'm getting out of this door while they're constantly respawning. So the whole 5-minute timer thing kind of fucked us over on that thing. Or when I think it was Ace crashed his heli and burned all my hostages in the house. That was some bullshit too.
No. That's when I got RDM.
Oh yeah, the guy shot you.
The guy shot me. They thought we were after them with the freaking. Like I didn't have my siren on or nothing. They were robbing that gas station. They thought we were coming after them. It freaking just blasted me.
The chopper falls on my house, burns all my hostages. They respawn. And I'm just stuck in the house. Like, all right, what the fuck do I do now? Like, I'm
That
stuck
is
in here.
amazing.
Yeah, I was fucked over. There was
That
no
was a
way.
unique situation there.
Honestly, I don't know.
So, opinions on new gangs. Or actually, if I got a better one, Marksman DLC.
Marksman DLC. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming we're talking about gun variety or what we want to see in it.
Well, yeah.
Well, when I read the thing too earlier, it said something regarding high caliber rifles and something else. And I'm really hoping that they're not going to focus on snipers and long range bullshit, because everybody wants a mixture of things here, whether it be AKs or just other kind of M4 assault rifles. Like, who fucking cares if they do the same damage as something else? I just want some variety here. Like, I don't want to go to Rebel and have a set loadout.
One of the things I know I feel like for some reason they're only like they're like creating a lot of these guns, or I don't know if the MX actually exists in the real world, but I feel like some of these guns are just making out of thin. Well, no, that's not true, because the Katiba is a real world gun. It's called something else. But yeah, I would like to see some new guns that Bohemia brings in. I know some of them are definitely going to be some bolt action snipers, some shit that we'll never see in Olympus. But I would definitely like to see him put, I don't know, maybe some new types of rifles.
I don't know about y'all. I want to see a shotgun.
Oh, that's what I was
I
going to say.
do
I was
too,
like,
yes.
where is the shotgun?
Yes, dude, because if there was a shotgun, I would use it on cop 100% of the time, and I use my pistol.
But yeah, like when you're gonna breach or some shit, just like, all right, we're in your house. I'm coming with a
Yeah,
damn
just
shotgun.
bring out a freaking
You know
shotgun. I want to see a deputy standing in front of a door blasting it through with a freaking shotgun. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Yeah,
that'd be great.
shotguns would be so good, dude. I would love them.
So
Talking about, like,
when Kratos and all of us, I'm sorry, continue.
No, I was just gonna say, like you were saying, you don't want to see any long range like sniper rifles or any like honestly, I think the MK18 is a little overpowered. Anyways, like you can snipe with that thing so easily, and like one shot to the head. Anyone who has a decent shot is gonna, rape you with a freaking MK18 versus, any deputy or
Just any cop, basically.
Yeah, but honestly though, with that, I think there's a lot of people that play on the server that like there's a few. Yeah, honestly, like I was gonna change it and put it in a nicer way, but there's fewer people on the server that can make shots like that. You're right, man. Like, I can pop off 800-meter shots. Me and a bunch. I'm sure some of you guys can too, with an MK and kill people. 2 shots. Any shot to the body at that range is still a 2-shot kill. But when you have the links and what is the other gun that's in the game?
LRR, whatever it's called.
Yeah. That kind of puts it like popping shots at like 1.5.
Just
say
showing 2 clicks
like,
out.
Yeah, 2 clicks out, man, and you're just booming somebody in the face. Like, and it's hard enough to keep people following the rules as it is, but when you give someone a freaking sniper rifle and they're picking people, like sitting up at the News Channel 7 raping people in the square, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my god. I could just.
It'd be so easy to just send out the text like hands up or die and to it.
It'd just be a mass text to just see all these people just dying. Yeah, me and Kratos and a few of us, Dr. James, we were playing on a server earlier, clearly not breaking rules, and they had this flare gun pistol, and we need that. I don't know how they had a flare gun in it. Like, it was this, what did it look like? A little revolver, right?
Yeah, it's like a revolver and like flare, like 6-round flare cartridges. It was actually pretty cool.
I was just pop them up and they just fall. Yeah, so we need that. That would help.
I know there's a gun in the game. There's 2 separate 45 caliber pistols. I would certainly like to see one of those 45 caliber pistols in the game because I would use it. 45 caliber bullets actually do hit pretty hard. I don't know if any of you have ever used the Vermin, but
The ricochet on that thing.
Dude, it's so good. People underrate it so much. It's like way better than a PW, dude. It's like 2 to 3 shot kill depending on where you hit them. And it shoots just as fast. It's amazing.
What are your guys' thoughts on? I know that I was on other servers, but like being able to knock someone out.
I would never want to see it after what we were doing earlier on that server. We would just sit there and circle jerk, smack each other, and you just had no chance. Like, you would just see the Cavallo legend going around with his little rogue just pop, pop, pop. Like, no one would have a chance.
I was just like, I don't want it either. That was just my question because how many new people come on the server asking, how do I knock this cop out? How do I knock this guy out?
Well, we tried that. We tried that for a while. I don't know if some of y'all was on them, but we tried that for a while. Actually, for I think it was like 2 weeks or something like that. We had to knock that thing, and it was a disaster.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There was so much troll. It was ridiculous.
It is trolly, but I would love to see something like that where you could knock them out and take their gear off of them without killing them.
I think it would be better for like RP purposes.
I think it would be good to do it if you restrain them, like so that way you have to get them to put their hands up and stuff like that. If you restrain them, then you can knock them out instead of having them have to unrestrain them and then you have to trust them not to just click respawn.
Yeah.
Well, what if knocking them out's like a skill shot? Like you have to like
Think you guys dome them or something?
light it up.
Shoot them in the kneecaps.
Yeah.
Or, like you just have to like run. Like if they're obviously standing still, like obviously that's easy. You go behind them, but like knock out on the run or something. I don't know. That'd be funny.
Shout out to Roger Wilshire, by the way.
Oh my god, I love that guy.
Roger!
Isn't he
I
bad?
think it's
I
best.
saw some on forums.
I'm not comment on that one.
Wasn't he perm banned and then unperm banned and probably on his way back to said perm ban?
Yeah, I think it's best I not comment on that one.
Dude calls terror every day with a suicide vest just to scream Roger Wilshire.
Someone just put in the chat something interesting. They said they want to see cops. They don't like it where cops can restrain people that don't have their hands up and aren't tased, like people that are just standing there.
That's something else.
Just get tased though.
Yeah, that's something else that were brought up. I mean, I understand where it's come from because like cops like to just like being shot at, and I've seen like deputies are just getting shot at like crazy, just like sprint by and restrain this guy as he's running by him, And I mean, yeah, it's kind of dumb, but there's no rules against it. But as far as I'm like making someone be with their hands up. Like I can't remember maybe twice in the past like month that someone's actually put their hands up when I said APD hands up.
All right, they just book
You know,
it.
like,
Well, the reason for that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, though. It's because money is unlimited.
exactly.
I mean, okay, like I've been playing on these other servers, like it's known, and I do not want to fight the cops. Like I can't afford it.
No, like one of the things I'm like in Haas situations. I think Nick brought it up earlier. I'm not going to stick on this particular thing too long, but Haas situation training, that would have been amazing when I to know about when I was coming up in the rank. It took me a long time to get accustomed to it. But aside from that, I've had situations where I'll do Haas situations, and what'll happen is I'll meet them, I'll figure out how many people are there, and I'll figure out all the lines of sight that needs to be taken on and stuff like that for the cops that are with me. And what I'll do is usually what'll happen is if I can't get to a situation where I can get line of sight on them at the time, what I'll do is I'll go back out after the negotiation. They tell me their demands. I'll go out and get money. There was a situation where I ended up having to give somebody money in advance to them to bring the hostage out to it, because that's what I'll do. I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna give you part of the money in advance and you bring the hostage out safely, so I can guarantee you I can get them out of here when I give you the rest of the money instead of you keeping them. So like, could there ever be like a way to retrieve that money back off of them or something like that once you give it to them? I don't really know how that could work, because that could also be that could lead to abuse as well.
Well, yeah, for sure. About the hostage training, Snake's buddy kind of hurt everybody on that one. I'm not going to call no names, but I'm sure Snake knows who he is.
What?
You don't remember?
Kobe?
No, Black Flag.
Oh, I'm not gonna name any names. Black Flag.
Well, yeah,
I mean, Nash Bridges, he was the one that had the problem
was he the one that done it? Yeah.
Nash Bridges was the one with the infamous 40-minute video criticizing Ares.
Yeah, but I mean, we tried that once, and evidently it didn't work out. But I mean,
it was very unrealistic.
Yeah, very unrealistic. We're in the freaking game, dickwad. But as far as like a lot of hostage situations are different, and like you said, with giving people money and stuff, like I don't think I've ever gave anybody any money. I think there was one time a guy he was asking for the money. I told him that I had the briefcase. I needed to come in to give it to him, and I had like 4 guys on each side of the door. And as soon as he opened the door, everybody was inside the door. It was hilarious. The guy was screaming, stuff like that's what I think's fun. But I don't think there would be anything we could code as far as like to where they got cash. Like we actually had a little briefcase to carry cash in. That'd be pretty fun.
That would be badass. Yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible, but I don't know. We'll see.
Because it's like I gave him the money in advance. Obviously, he got something out of that situation, whether we took him in or not. Unless he pays his ticket, which he ain't going to. But yeah, like sometimes there are situations where they got it so locked down that you pretty much you're in a situation where basically what you do is you prepare to get them as they leave. You give them their stuff, and then you try to get it back after the hostage is safe. When they try to leave or something like that. Sometimes that can happen.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if they ask for anything but money, you can get or like a virtual item inventory, then
With my freaking helmet.
you can get it back. Like I had one situation where someone got my MXM and then they didn't make it out of there after the hostage was safe, so I got it back. But like.
That's why that Sophia HQ house, dude. I'd wait till no sergeants were on or higher. Then I'd make them give me goods, and I'd stick them right in the house. Couldn't even get raided. Even if they get in there, I'm so good.
How can you not get raided?
Well, who's gonna raid me? How are they gonna steal my stuff when they can't search?
Or the sergeants?
No, I'm saying if there's no sergeants or higher on, I never got searched because people just can't do it.
I thought okay, yeah. I thought you said when there are sergeants.
Oh yeah, and then I would just move it to another house, and I'd ended up with like 100 cop hats. I'm good for days.
I'm pretty sure, I think it was Snake, like I seen a comment about a GPS tracker on cars. I think it was Snake asked for, I may be wrong, Snake, but I think it was you. We were on one time and you had asked for a cop car, and I had a deputy GPS track it, and I can't remember what you wanted in, donuts or something. And like we just all played it off, man. How you let the horses go? He gets in the car, drives off. Like we're watching him freaking run, and all of a sudden, like I hear him whispering in my ear on TeamSpeak, like, "Oh, that was too easy. Oh, you guys are dicks," because he knew right then that we had GPSed it, man. He ended up parking it behind some house when we found him. It was like
That
stuff like that's
was
always fun.
crazy. That is exactly the way I wish all hostage situations were, because I got what I wanted, and then like I just felt something wrong, and by the time we were not even a click out of Kavala, I was like, this car's tracked. We bail, run on foot, get picked up, drive off in an off-road, like, and still get caught. Like,
It was
and
pretty
I think
fun.
that was actually like when I got my sergeant. I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
What's opinions then on someone RPing that they found your GPS tracker and they took it off? Because I've always wanted to do that, but it's like, are they actually going to listen if I pull some bullshit that I found it? Like, cause I always, like every time I steal a ghost sock, they always find me with the damn keychain. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like,
No, I hate the stupid keychain thing. I wish it wouldn't
Yeah.
tell you how far away it was.
I agree with that. I don't care too much for the keychain.
Like, it's cool to show if your vehicle's still in the game, like and not chopped or something, but yeah, it shouldn't show how far away it is because that's too easy. You might as well not have a GPS tracker if you're gonna do that. But yeah, that's
so someone said off topic, but if y'all get around to it, any possibility of sling loading being added in? I'm pretty sure it was already decided that if it was added, it'd be medical in there, right?
yeah, and it'd be only the R&R coordinator with the Charger.
Yeah, so there's your answer. And you can finish what you're saying, Medulla. My apologies.
No, you're fine. Haiti Dr. Spirit talked about bait cars, GPS tracker. I think we can pretty much already do that. You can, if you want, you can have a car, your cop car, put a GPS tracker on it, and, maybe shoot a tire out of it, make it look like it wrecked, and leave it unlocked, and just, like, put it out somewhere, and someone's going to get in it, and they're going to steal it, and there you go. You chase them and get them for it. That's
Yeah, I've never actually done it on call, but I have done that on Civ, putting GPS trackers on certain vehicles that people are interested in and leaving them parked somewhere. And a lot of times, man, more times than none, like if you put a big truck out there in a random field, a lot of people will just grab it and then go use it to make money, and then we'll let them fill it up, go kill them, and then just go to the drug dealers. So
yeah.
that's kind of surprising, but
Or
you always have that one guy that goes straight as fast as they possibly can at the chop shop.
if I ever find a cop car unlocked or just like any huge like helmet or something, I'm never touching that shit. I'm like, I know what's going on here. Can't fool me.
Yeah, well, the cop car, you could even leave it locked because a lot of people love the lockpick cop cars.
Yeah.
So they'll just do that and they get wanted anyway at the end of the day.
Well, cop cars get left in Kavala on the daily.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
Cop cars are
it's
so easy to steal, it's not even funny.
not, yeah, it's not a thing. Maybe if you did it with a hunter or something like that.
Volric, I can't remember who Volric is, but he said best trolls topic.
Trolls.
Gary.
That's
Yeah,
boo-boo,
Honey Boo. Snake, are you mimicking Honey Boo Boo's voice?
No,
See,
No, bud. No, bud.
I used to think it was Gary, but I don't know. Hades. He's in Rousing on my
Hades is
list.
good.
Hades is a pretty big troll.
Hades is an admin troll though, because like he'll go on Visual Man and be a ghost or something. That's the funniest stuff ever on a lot of people. But I still think Gary, man, Gary's such a daggone troll. Actually, today we were playing Civ, and I don't know how many times he jumped into a tail rotor in my helicopter when we landed. Everything would be dead serious, and this kid would just jump out and slam into the tail rotor. Like, I swear he's the biggest troll ever.
Oh, where'd Snake go?
He's right
Oh,
there.
there he is. He's back. Yeah, he was a good troll. My favorite troll was, and he's banned now. He's permanently banned, but he's Conan the Destroyer.
I was
Freaking Conan.
He's always lock picking.
See, y'all don't even know. Like, y'all don't know Kratos from 8 months ago, okay? Where I was the one that was, like, telling him, no, don't shoot. Like, Kratos is actually the biggest troll, but nobody knows it because of the way he acts now. But you go back 2 months to robbing cadets 95 times a day. You go back a few months before that to DA days when it was literally every person we'd pull over, Aiden and I are screaming at Kratos to not shoot. Like,
Dude,
Kratos is
like
actually
a day, dude. Like he does that freaking every day still. Anytime I've ever played with this kid, I have to tell him, Kratos, no, don't shoot. Like, no matter what. You have to tell him that.
Yeah, I got a little taste of it myself when I was playing with y'all yesterday or the other day. We go to heroin field. Some guy's I don't even know if he had a gun, and he's like, "Kill him, let's shoot him, let's shoot him." I'm like, no, just one guy. But yeah,
So
Kratos sounds like he used to be fun.
Oh wow.
No, I just don't play with him. I've not really played with him much. What were you saying, Warfare?
so Chrono asked, and this is probably a dumb question, but why don't we have the rules posted in-game in the map menu?
Because they would rather have them all over the place.
Yeah.
No, we were actually just talking about this the other day. Like, that should be considered to be added.
I think the thing about the rules, man, is that you have to, like with us, when we first started this, you start with a baseline, and you have to like twerk and do this, add this rule, add that rule, and they've kind of just exploded over the time we've had them. So like you said, they're everywhere. It seems like we try and put, Hades tries and keeps everything organized and stuff like that, but I don't know. I mean, I think as far as putting them on the map, there's a lot of rules to have put on the map, and
Yeah, that's too many.
if someone, because when I played, I was literally on the server like 3 days, and I was a member on the forums. If someone likes the server enough to keep playing on it constantly, they should know the rules. And literally every Altus life has about the same rules, and if nobody just gets on ARM and they're like, oh, I'm gonna play Altus life, like usually everybody hears of Altus life to play it. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that you say a lot of servers have the same rules. I think that's basically true, but of the servers that I've played, and I've played quite a variety at this point, Olympus has the most dense rule set. There are way more specific rules for specific situations than any other server that I've ever seen, and I think that is actually a major problem. Like a streamline, I would be so good. Like there's just so much to know and remember. Even these new hostage rules. These new hostage rules are as long as some server's rule set.
Right?
Like,
the thing is, though, like that's the problem. Like we started out with those, streamlined, like okay, whatever this rule, but it got to the point to where everybody was. This person was complaining about this. This person was complaining about that. And it just got to a point where it got ridiculous. Like it was really, really bad. And then someone would be like, oh, well, you didn't have to do this, or you didn't have to do that, or I could have done this, like skirting everything. And you literally, like, I feel like it's gotten to the point where I have to hold someone's hand to help them play this game. Like, that's what I feel like. Like, the common sense that comes through the server is absolutely none.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what's got to the problem with the rules. I agree. I think the rules that we have are so freaking many that are ridiculous rules that we shouldn't have to have. But again, the population, I feel like, comes to this through the servers and stuff like that, are just ignorant. They just don't want to know, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Why are hostage situation rules so strict now? Though, like I like this much better where you can RP with someone and they can come out with just the dumbest combination of crap. But it's like now it's like, okay, well we're following this like basic responses that we have to just give people. Like, oh, you want 101K? Sorry, we can only give you 100K. Oh, you wanted a pardon? Yeah, sorry, we can't do that because we just fucking don't want to.
Trolls.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all it is trolls, man. Again, like that comes back to the trolling everybody, trolling cops, trolling this. Like we had to make it to where we had 3 cops on one time, or 2 cops on late at night, and guys were taking them hostage and then going around doing fed robs and stuff like that. Like, what you can't do a fed rob without 5 cops on. You know what I'm saying? Like, just it gets a little stupid. And with like some guy be like, they'd kidnap a deputy and then want pardon for 2 mil bounties. Like, that ain't gonna happen, And then there's like, oh well, there's no rule on it. All right, well, I guess Hades like, all right, well, I'll make a rule on it. So I don't know. I mean, I agree. Again, I agree. I think some of the rules are stupid and we shouldn't have to have them. But I don't know.
Yeah, the one I hate the most about the new ones is the fact that you can't rob a cop if there's not 5 on. Like, I can understand not taking them hostage, But robbing them for their gear is kind of just like, I don't know. They have no one there because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I can put my hands up, but you're gonna do shit to me. I'm just gonna stand here. Like,
Yeah.
Well, the thing with that is when you have rob a cop, you're basically like, okay, well, I'm gonna take everything you have and then let you walk back, and there's 3 cops on, and the whole reason that right there was in place was to stop people from trolling when there was 3 cops, to stop the whole trolling cops thing. Again, everybody has way too much money on the server, and they're literally just troll the cops a lot. Like when there's 3 cops on, I don't want everybody looking for cops just to steal all their money when the cops can actually be doing their job on the server and looking for bad guys. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I play with Bourbon, obviously, which is my gang. Like we try so hard to not fight the cops.
Yeah.
Then we fly around the drug fields, and there's nobody doing drugs anymore because nobody needs money. So then what are we left to do? Okay, there's no rebels anywhere, it seems, unless they're buying gear at Rebel Outpost and we happen to nick them when they're naked, and that's boring. So what do you have to do? Then you have to do a jailbreak or something where you guaranteed get some action.
and you're trolling
Because
the cops
otherwise
still.
you're just flying, right, and then you're trolling the cops, exactly. But otherwise you're just flying around in circles in a helicopter to find no one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been playing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
But I've been playing Civ. I think I played it some today. I've been playing it a little more, and the thing I've realized is that, and I tell them guys because it's usually like Boo Boo and all them, but I tell them the same thing. Don't freaking troll cops. I don't want to get in a fight with the cops, and we always end up in a shootout with the cops, which is spontaneous, and I think that's 10 times better than going to look for cops. Like, bad guys don't look for cops, they try to avoid them, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're like some terrorist or something. But anyways, the thing that I agree with though is like when I'm on Civ, dude, and we're flying around trying to find people to rob, there's freaking nobody anywhere. Like, what the freak is everybody doing on the server, you know? Like, I ran, like, there's 75 freaking people on the server.
40 of them are
guys
standing in
caught.
Kamala.
Yeah. Like, I mean, seriously, is everybody just standing in their house counting how much money they have on the server or something? Like, what the heck, you know? You randomly get some guy that just spent every money he had on a Hemet box truck. He's got $0 left, and he's trying to do cocaine, and there's 15 gangs trying to rob him at once. Like, that's stupid. And,
So do you think that there should be an increase in the slots for players?
No, I think that I think the honest problem is there's too much money on the server. Now, that goes back to the wipe thing. Do I believe that there should be a server wipe? Maybe. We've kind of talked about that, about an idea of a server wipe, what would happen, how we would do it, stuff. I think that makes the game more interesting. I don't think the people who play on the server every day, they won't leave. I'm sure Virus would be pretty pissed off, but he can shoot for 500 mil again, whatever. But I mean, it gives people back the opportunity to, okay, well, heck, I gotta get on the server and make some money. Like, I remember, dude, this time of night right here, or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning,
money
dude.
making hours.
Yeah, oh man, dude, you get on there and everybody on the servers, man, was just about making money.
Yeah, you had
Like
truces.
you'd have that one gang, dude, flying around that would get wrecked every time they land because there's like 15 people just trying to make money. Like, man, we'd have like 6 Hemet box trucks, man, going across the freaking map running drugs, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm lucky if I see a freaking quad doing drugs. You know?
And that was also like the best time, like when I first was on the server and I was playing Civ, I was in a couple of different gangs here and there was just the best gang wars was between 2 gangs that were kind of new and trying to make money against each other. Those were the best gang wars ever. Now, it just seems like there's not really very many gang wars. You have, obviously, you see gangs come and go, but like on server 2, you have pretty much MC dominates a bunch of randoms. Server 3, Bourbon dominates a bunch of randoms. That's for 30% pay or whatever. Server 1 is POTP, or I guess Tree is there now. I don't know what happened to POTP or whatever, if they're still around, but like, it just seems like At this point, everyone kind of joins the gang and has a bunch of money, and then everybody else is just randoms, just not really in a gang. They're just trying to make money. And I feel like these are the people you keep seeing. They come into the server, they try to make some money, and then you're right, it's always the people that actually have the trucks out doing drugs are the ones who don't have the money. They just spent all their money on getting the truck, and it kind of sucks. Like,
Yeah, and like I said, making money ain't even hard on this server. Like it's so easy. Like I said, I gave away everything the other day. Everything. I was fucking done, dude. I gave everything away. And then I played one day and made it like 11. I'm at like $10.8 million or something like that. And I have get a set of gear on. Like that's ridiculous.
I remember, dude. We would be at like. I actually remember buying a rook to go do weed because